These suits have become like a second skin for doctors like Denis Milutin. The 45-year-old has been working in the intensive care unit of this coronavirus hospital on the outskirts of Moscow since it opened just over a year ago. The hospital has just added a fifth ICU. Denis Milutin heads it. The severity of the patients' cases has intensified. Before, our patients got better and stabilized in a shorter period of time. Now the number of patients has stayed the same, but the severity of cases has worsened. The hospital specializes in treating COVID. It takes in patients even when other wards in Moscow are coping. Denis says around 80 to 90% of the beds here are occupied at the moment. Hospitalization rates in Moscow have been going up. Some experts are even warning of a third wave in Russia. But the doctors here say things are under control. How are you feeling? The head doctors at the ICU do their ward rounds 3 times a day to check on patients and make sure they're stable. The relatives don't always understand. They want their loved ones to be discharged immediately. We're just happy about the slightest improvement in a patient's condition. During the first wave of the coronavirus last year, 12,000 workers built this infectious disease hospital in just over a month. The sprawling hospital is reminiscent of a military camp, but it was built to stay. It has beds for up to 800 patients and a huge laboratory that can carry out hundreds of thousands of tests per day. It's the showpiece in Moscow's fight against the pandemic. The Russian authorities have declared victory in the battle against COVID-19 several times, but now the number of new coronavirus infections is inching up again, particularly here in Moscow. The vaccination drive is very slow in Russia, even though the country's Sputnik V vaccine is widely available. One survey shows nearly 2/3 of Russians don't want to get the jab at all. Still, coronavirus restrictions have been lifted almost entirely, and not everyone is worried about Moscow's infections going up. They've been promising a third wave for ages. If it happens, then we'll wear masks. We're very afraid of the third wave. I don't believe in this infection. For Denis Milutin, this kind of attitude about the virus is frustrating. The battle against the coronavirus has essentially taken over his life. Along with most of the medical staff, he lives in a dorm on the territory of the hospital. Once everyone understands that with this virus, you don't just have to protect yourself from others with a mask, but also protect others from yourself, that's when we'll really win against COVID. We'll have less work if people take personal responsibility. There's already a huge turnover of patients at this hospital, but doctors here are convinced that they're prepared for a third wave of the coronavirus if it hits.